Okay. What is your name?
Mark Kowalchuk.
I think you gotta speak a little bit louder.
Okay.
Okay. What is your name?
Mark Kowalchuk.
Who do you work for?
Art School Skateboards.
What is your title with them?
I am co-owner of Art School Skateboards.
What does your work involve?
Basically, it's my job to handle all the creative aspects of Art School Skateboards.
Okay. How did you get involved with this company?
I started doing artwork for other skate brands, and then I just decided one day that I was gonna start my own, and grabbed a business partner who happened to be my cousin-in-law, and we just started making boards.
What do you find attractive about the industry that you went into?
I love doing art, and I love skateboarding, so it just made sense that I just combine the two, and doing art on canvases, which is a skateboard, just seemed like a sweet way to show off my art. So that's
Cool. How did you penetrate the market when you first started your company?
that was actually a pretty tough one, because the skateboard industry is pretty large, and Canadian companies don't get much recognition, so it's hard to be a Canadian skateboard company and get your name out there. So we kind of had to do it guerrilla way, like getting kids stoked, giving out free boards at first and telling people who we were, and just hitting people up on the internet with, like, YouTube and that sort of thing. Obviously we added a team, so they were out there and spreading the word, but it was pretty guerrilla at first.
Awesome. What were your initial goals set before you first penetrated the market?
To be honest with you, I didn't really know what I was doing at first, and it was kind of, I don't know, maybe it was childlike in the sense that we just kind of didn't really know what we could do. So we went into it with not really expecting anything, not knowing what we were doing, and we just had to basically learn from our mistakes of what worked and what didn't work, trial and error.
How have your goals changed since your initial startup?
I think we're thinking more like an actual company now, rather than when we first started. It seemed more like a fun side project, but now people expect something out of us, that we're professional skateboard company, so we have to maintain that expectation, and we have to keep kids interested, and they, if we just put out a graphic that was just brutal, they wouldn't be too happy with us. So we've just set a bar at a certain level now.
Are any of your goals from your initial startup to now the same?
Yeah, I think if anything, some things are more solidified. When Jeff and I first started talking about doing it, we wanted to make sure that art was always what we were about, and we didn't want to just sort of sell out on that aspect and do, like, slapping our logo all over the place, and, like, it still had to be about art, and we just, now it's even more about that, because we can do more with our graphics. And
Gotcha.
yeah.
What forms of advertising did you use when you first started up?
Basically it was just blogging, straight blogging, like uploading videos of our team, hitting people up on Facebook, being like, we're putting on a new board, just like as much as we can humanly do, to get involved with contests, sponsoring contests, like here's some boards to give some kids, just anything that we could do really to reach people.
Okay. What do you do now for advertising?
Now that we've sort of grown, we have a little bit more of a marketing budget. It's not much more because we're still pretty small, but we've done some ads in some magazines like Kingship magazine, and we definitely are working more and more with a lot of legitimate online magazines like Push and SBC and Concrete, and all the ones that are actually taking us seriously now. So we send them information when we're making moves, and they they give us the attention that we need.
Awesome. Who would you say are your major competitors within the industry?
Well, right now we're primarily still Canadian, and we're not really branching into the American market, which is the huge skateboard world is pretty much California. And so we're kind of doing our own thing in Canada. And there are a few Canadian brands that are, up and coming Canadian brands that might be considered our competitors. I don't really look at it as a competitive way because I think the Canadian brands are all at least sticking together to at least combat the American brands. If I had to pick one brand that I would say is my competitor, it would be Kitsch, just because I like what they're doing, and they're from Vancouver, and I've kind of been following what they're doing just because I like what they're doing, but I wouldn't consider them my competition. That I don't want them to succeed.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. How closely do you analyze what they're doing, and try to implement it in your company?
Yeah, I think because I'm a computer guy, I probably like every other 16-year-old kid that's like on the internet constantly and just following what everybody's doing. Like I follow the barracks on a day-to-day basis. I follow what all the brands are doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of in the know of what's going on out there, and so yeah, I do go on their sites and make sure I know what they're doing. So I'm not left in the dark like somebody's one-upping me. So it's healthy competition, I would say.
What would you say is the most effective way of creating brand awareness for your company?
I still think word of mouth has a lot to do with it. I mean, you reach a broader market with the internet, and kids are so blog savvy. Like, I mean, we want to make it so that people are going back to our blog every day. Like, I try and post something every day that's related to our company, but I still think that word of mouth and getting kids stoked out there does a lot. Like, I ran into some kid that had my board at the store, and he didn't know who I was, and I was just like, oh, sweet board, and he's like, yeah, these are the best, and da-da-da, and all my friends are skating, and I was like, sweet, and like, that's the infectious sort of vibe that you want. Like, if people are not liking your product or they're not liking what you're doing, nobody's gonna buy your stuff, so you gotta get that going.
What type of advertising works best for your company?
Well, I think that this is a debate whether online advertising is more important than paper advertising, and I think it's all important. I think you have to come at it from every angle, kind of, because if you just concentrate on one, then you're not really hitting every market. So we try and do that, and we try and do demo tours across cities so that shops can put up their posters and advertise for us too. So you kind of have to do everything.
How important do you think it is to have an effectively run website?
That's a good question. I hate my website, so right off the bat, I'm gonna be like, I don't know. I think it's important that your material on your website is important, and I do believe that having a website that looks professional is important. I know that my website needs some improvements, and so maybe that's where I'm lacking there. But it's important to, the world is the internet these days. So.
How does your company create brand awareness on your website?
I just think it's trying to create this strong brand that we're about art, and so we don't just make it all about skateboarding. We give local artists spotlights on our website, and we want people to be involved and know we're about art. So we do bring that aspect in. Like there's a filmer or musician or fine artists that are sort of killing it in Canada. We'll give them a check out, and we'll try and feature